All right. So today we have Megan Vogt from the Georgia State University Neuroscience program today with us. Megan, we'd like to ask you a couple questions if that's okay. Um, Welcome. The first one is, what year are you in the program?
I am a first-year PhD student at Georgia State.
Okay. So can you kind of describe in general what it's like to be a first-year student?
Yeah, I think my experience is a little unorthodox just because it's during the pandemic. However, being a first-year student, I have participated in several lab rotations, so getting different experience working in the labs of different professors. And I'm also taking a lot of interesting courses that are setting me up for success whenever I, go on to maybe a postdoc after grad school.
Excellent. Um, can you describe any of your rotation labs so far? What have you been researching?
Yeah, sure. So after my rotations, I actually joined Dr. Ann Murphy's lab, and I am starting a project that's looking at the effects of prenatal opioid exposure on learning and memory. And we use a rat model in that lab. So I am going to look at how rats remember different things whenever they've been exposed to opioids during gestation.
Oh, wow. That's very relevant to what's going on in the human world. And so this is a good illustration of how basic research can help inform these later treatments and potential research as well in clinical populations. So really interesting stuff. What was your undergraduate major?
My undergraduate major was neuroscience.
Okay. I think we're 2 for 2. So Mikhail, who is another graduate student in the Georgia State program, is also neuroscience major. It's good to know these things for anyone out there that might be interested in getting into a graduate program eventually. Very early on, especially for some brain bee competitors, you're all high schoolers. What is your favorite brain or neuroscience fact?
Huh. I don't think it's a specific fact per se, but I just love the idea that we know so little about the brain because that not only gives me a lot of opportunity to learn more about the brain, but it also is very humbling to know that although we are very thoughtful creatures and we have a lot of money invested in our sciences, we still have only scratched the surface of knowledge about what goes on in our heads.
Yes, that's very true. Every day I'm reminded of that, I think, as I do my own research. And what's great about neuroscience, I love the different levels of expertise that we have and the different topics and fields of experts. And so you might have a very engineering-based approach. You might have like a psychology-based approach, and or even just molecular-based. So you're right. There's so much to learn and so much to find out. We still have a ways to go, but it's fun along the way, and it's exciting and useful at some point
Yeah.
to the general population. Okay, fun stuff. Do you have any pets?
I have several pets actually.
Okay.
I have a husky named Ryder. I have a ball python. I call him Percy. And I have two tortoises, Philip and Linus. And then I also have a one-eyed bearded dragon named Sophia.
Wow, okay. And they all get along?
They don't interact very much. The dog gets along with each reptile individually, but the reptiles themselves do not interact much.
Okay. And have you been struggling to get the appropriate food during the pandemic for all your pets?
Of course not. You
Okay.
can buy dog food anywhere, and the reptiles, the tortoises and the dragon, they just eat lettuce from the grocery store. The
Oh, okay.
only difficult thing to get a hand on is frozen mice for the snake, but the internet always helps me out when in that case.
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone, I think. But yeah, that's great. Um, let's see. Okay, last fun question. Who's your favorite musical artist?
Interesting question. I have very abnormal musical taste. I'm actually very interested in a cappella. So
Oh,
my favorite music group is an a cappella group called Straight No Chaser.
I feel like I've heard of that and or the rock version.
Yeah, Straight No Chaser is actually very popular as when it comes to a cappella groups though.
Okay. Well, that's great. Have you ever participated in an a cappella group yourself or?
No. Although that
Okay.
does sound really fun.
Yes, we could get a GSU one going, but I won't be in charge of that. I'm not the best singer. I like to play the guitar, but I don't like to sing. So
Yeah, instruments have no place in acapella, so unfortunately.
Exactly. See, yeah, so I'm out. I could be your manager maybe, but
Yeah, sure.
that's it. All right, well, great. That's I'm taking an informal survey essentially of musical taste of neuroscience graduate students. So this is great. That I definitely did not predict acapella. So
Yeah.
well, that's great. Okay, so we appreciate you taking this time. Um, Megan was also an instructor for the workshop for the Brain Bee, kind of like a preparatory class for the competition. And so I'd like to thank you for that. And you did a wonderful job, and I'm sure the students loved you. And so, yeah, thank you very much for sticking around doing this. And this is your Meet the Neuroscientist mini interview.
Thank you very much.